Well, hi again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football. This is our draft prospect show, and today we're going to talk about Lathan Ransom, the safety out of Ohio State, the Ohio State University. He's a national champion. We're going to talk about him in just a moment with Vincent Turner, with Trey Sims, and our producer and engineer is Logan Landers. And we want to thank all of them for helping put this show together. We know that everybody's been liking it and enjoying it, and we hope that you are on today's show as well. One thing that is new for us is we're getting a chance to talk about mybookie.ag. If you're a bettor and you want to place a bet, there's mybookie.ag is the place to go. You can bet on casino, regular, traditional type bets, the horses, or if you want sports betting, there's Major League Baseball, obviously the NCAA and Final Four, and you've got NHL and NBA playoffs coming up here in the very near future. Go to mybookie.ag, use the promo code MM50, and that helps our show exclusively, and we appreciate you doing so. But go online, you log in, you fund your account, and then it's so easy. Even if you don't want to place a bet, just go look at how simple it is for you to learn what the odds are and where the trends are. It's a very educational experience as well. So they want to help you be the best bettor you can be. mybookie.ag. And now back to the show. We're going to talk a little bit about one of the safeties that I think really a difference maker for Ohio State. Their secondary and the coverage was something that was a feast for your eyes if you were a defensive coordinator. So many different areas where they excelled throughout the course of the year. And Trey, we get to talk about Lathan Ransom and his ability to make a difference there in terms of the Buckeye defense. What sticks out to you?
First of all, I love Lathan Ransom because as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I love physical, hard-nosed football, and that's what Lathan Ransom is. He will hit you, a downhill thumper. He loves to play in the box. He loves to play, help run support, run safety. Very good play recognition. He kind of reminds me of Jamal Adams when he came out of college. Even the league, as you know, he stayed in the box, got plenty of sacks, tackles for a loss, always came in, was ready to help stop a running back, and had decent speed, not the fastest, but enough speed to not be a liability out there. He kind of also reminds me a little bit of Dante Whitner, who also went to Ohio State. He has some coverage ability, but we know for him as his nickname, Dante Hitner, always ready to lay a boom on somebody. So again, as a Steelers fan, I want a safety that's not afraid to hit you, not afraid to get physical. But they say put your face in the fan. That's Lathan Ransom.
Well, talk to me a little bit now. I'm a little older, so I went Troy Polamalu in terms of his ability to just completely mess up what a quarterback wants to run. Because Troy, what he would do is he would step in and get a feel for something, minus the long hair. Lathan Ransom would come into the line of scrimmage and he could lock up with the tight end. He would get away from a tackle, let's say, or a pulling guard because he was fast enough to get around him. And he certainly was a force to reckon with if a fullback or even a running back had to block him and try to protect him against the quarterback. I think his versatility in so many different ways. He can play in the nickel. He can go to the outside. He can play at the line of scrimmage as if he's kind of like a linebacker, and then a traditional safety. He's really a Swiss Army knife, and he can do so many different things. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. I'm going to refrain from using Troy. That's because that's probably one of my favorite players of all time.
Well, he's in Mount Rushmore. I get it. But I'm just saying that in terms of it's maybe putting too high an expectation, but the versatility that Troy would be all over the field, and this guy has that same type of thing. That's kind of the message that I'm trying to portray there.
Yeah, I wasn't saying that you were wrong or anything. I was just saying personally for me. But anyway, yeah, he is, like you said, very versatile. Can use him everywhere, and it helped that you have Caleb Downs as the other safety. Who
no kidding, yeah,
going to be a top 5 safety when he comes out next year. Top 5 player, not safety. He's gonna be number 1 safety. But so you can put Latham in whatever you want to. You can wherever you want to place him because he is talented enough and has the ability to do everything you need him to be able to do.
Well, Vincent, he was a 4-star athlete coming out of high school. He's had his whole 5 years there that he stayed at Ohio State. A couple years where he got hurt. But what sticks out in your mind's mind about Lathan Ransom and his amazing ability there in the secondary?
He's from Tucson, Arizona. Grew up on the same block as a gentleman that's running the football right now for the Atlanta Falcons. Real good friends in B. John Robinson. When you're talking about safeties and great safeties that's played this game, one thing about Mr. Ransom that takes out, in my mind, effort, toughness, outstanding ability to blitz as being a safety in the box. 56 career games, 165 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 12 quarterback hits, 6 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, 13 pass breakups. What does that say, gentlemen? He's very versatile, and he's a player that can make it happen all over the field. And then all we got to say, as you said earlier, Hop, with that strong voice this morning, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Tim Anderson, Neil Colsey, Sean Springs, Mike Doss, Tim Fox, and the assassin Jack Tatum. I don't have to say no more. This gentleman is a hell of a football player. Back to you, Hop.
Yeah, the assassin. You just throw his name in, and that I get chills down my spine just thinking about that. Man, I'm glad I never had to go over the middle with that dude. He used something else. Trey, I'm looking at some of the things he struggles against really fast, quick slot receivers when he's putting out there. Vincent mentioned he only has 3 interceptions in his 5 years. So does he have an issue knowing where the flight of the ball is? And occasionally he's a little bit over aggressive in getting to spot A and realizing that a running back has made a move and shifted where they're going. Those are 3 weaknesses, but you really have to struggle to find a 4th or 5th. He does so many things well. Are the things that I just mentioned as weaknesses, are those going to be things that might push him back to where he might be a day 3 guy? Because right now I'm thinking he could be a 2nd, 3rd, or 4th rounder. What are your thoughts?
I was going to go 2nd or 3rd because I don't know what would push him back. Because again, I'm going to go back to a Mike Tomlin reference. He said I'd rather say sick him than say whoa, or because as far as the running over playing something, that's because he's trying to play fast. He's trying to play, without thinking, but having I'm losing the word I'm trying to look for. I think it's instincts. There we go, instincts to know where the play is and to go and dissect it and go and make the play. And then as far as not getting a lot of interceptions, that's probably because he's in the box a lot because he forced 6 fumbles. So he does make plays and he's going and he's coming for the ball. He's always coming. He's coming, which again, why I love him. So I don't think it's going to affect him too much, but people will be aware of it.
What about injuries? Broke his leg in 21. I think he's recovered from that and really proven this past year that isn't going to be an issue. Now, no one knows whether or not somebody's going to get hurt in the future, but do you think that might be anything at all to decrease the value? I think the doctors have already visited with him. So, Trey, I'll follow up with that. Just, have you brought into the factor that injuries, 2 of the years that he was at Ohio State were a factor?
I mean, like you said, you're always going to look at it, but since there was 2021, 2020, that's kind of was towards the beginning of his college career. So he seemed like he's played very healthy. He's played and was productive in the years that he's played after that. So, I mean, you always look at it, but I'm sure that if a team drafts him, they will be comfortable with his injury history.
Yeah. Vincent, Tyrann Mathieu, Honey Badger, is listed as one of those guys. I call him a tweener. Hybrid is really where most guys are going right now. Because he's 6 feet, he's still a little over 200 pounds. But the way he plays against the run, he's a tweener, in my opinion, that you got to have on the field, especially if it's 3rd and 4. And you run any type of play action, he can still cover a tight end or a slot receiver. But yet, if you're going to run it, his run support is second to none.
One thing I like about safeties playing, whether it's on the high school level, the college level, or even the professional level. One thing Mr. Ransom showed me at his time at Ohio State, A+. Tackles well in space. Back to you, Hawk.
Yep, he ends the play, doesn't he, Trey? I mean, it's over. He very seldom gets beat to the outside. I know that's a criticism that somebody has in terms of him over pursuing, but it doesn't happen enough to where it's a problem, in my opinion. I know you bring it up as, it's happened on occasion, but especially at the pro level, the training that he's going to get and the instincts that he already has. He's an amazing young man that really is going to help somebody in their secondary and make them a much better football team from day one.
For sure. So I don't think, like you said, I want my safety to fly around. I think like his biggest problem would be the speed factor. Like if, like you say, a quick, faster slot receiver, or even some of these tight ends that may be a little more deceptive speed, like going vertical down the field. But like anything around the line of scrimmage, 5 yards, 10 yards, I don't think he's going to have too much of a problem with that.
Well, he's listed at running a 5.3 40. His strength, though, is really unquestionable. You can see the picture there on the right in Ohio State. He's chiseled. But the fact that he throws his body around the way that he does and with such reckless abandon, that to me is worth its weight in gold, and he's already got it. It isn't something that needs to be developed in him. That's the thing about him, Vincent, that I think he carries with him a reputation to hit. You mentioned some of the other big hitters that were not only from Ohio State, but just around the league. He can join that club day one.
And no question about it. You're getting a quality football player that's came out of a quality program. He's got to live up to history with all the great defensive backs coming out of Ohio State. Think about this. He played on a national championship team with so many other great defensive players, a.k.a. Jack Sawyer, a.k.a. Caleb Downs. This gentleman, to me, is going to be a surefire guy that's going to be productive on the next level.
Yeah.
And he's from the Ohio State Buckeyes. And he's got that Woody Hayes type of temperament to him.
Well, 2 or 3 guys from years past that have already graduated and a couple guys that still have yet to finish their career at Ohio State. He's certainly a part of one of the recruiting classes that is as good as it gets, and they certainly proved it this year. So he is Lathan Ransom. You can look for him on probably day 2. We hope that he's not around on day 3, but the safety from Ohio State University, let that name ring in because he's certainly going to be a player. And if he goes to your favorite team, you're going to be glad you got him. I guarantee you that. So for Trey Sims, for Vincent Turner, for Logan Landers, I'm Harper LaBelle saying thank you for tuning in to 100 Yards of Football. We appreciate you being a part of today's Draft Prospect Show. So have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much.